A very good afternoon from South Cambridge here in the United Kingdom from myself and Des, who's a little bit cross with me, and you'll see why later on in the video. In today's episode, we're going to cover the firmware update that came out a couple of days ago. One of our friends on Discord channel managed to send me through some speed tests. I have not been fortunate enough to have that firmware update yet, which I'm not disappointed about. And also we're going to talk about multi-core and single-core speed tests. I will put those on the screen and show you how they compare. That's one of the requests that came in from the comments section in previous videos. Also want to cover obstructions. I know I've mentioned it before. And the question raised, do birds cause obstructions? Well, I can definitively answer that for you. Of course, it depends how big your bird is. Then next up, we'll have the DES update. Now, I might need your help in this one. And who knows where it or he will go. And then finally, I have the feedback from the customer service team at Starlink, where some of the people within the community had a conversation about the points that were raised and also the survey that was carried out. And it's interesting. That will be the serious stuff towards the end. But before we do that, here is a sheep falling over, and then acting as if nothing happened. So first of all, let's jump into it. Here is the speed test from the latest firmware, and it's this version. Thank you very much for providing these screens on this, and you can see how that runs. I'll leave it running for a while we progress through the video. And then next up here are the single core and multi-core speed tests. This is one of the things that you have requested, and I do hope this helps give you an understanding of where it's at. I will say that my network was being used by myself. I was doing something else at the time. I had some work stuff to do, but also my wife was also on it, and who knows what she was up to. Probably shopping, or I don't know. Who knows? I don't guess. And that brings us nicely on to obstructions, a perfect tie-in right there. We've raised the question, do birds cause obstructions? Well, let me tell you this story. I think you're going to like it. I was out cutting the grass the other day, and by cutting the grass I mean mowing a field. And I looked towards the house, and I could see my dish sat there, all nice and clean. And then I noticed this bird on top of it. And of course I did what any seeing person's gonna do. I jumped off the tractor and ran towards it like a maniac, screaming at the top of my voice. Bird paid zero attention to me. It's almost like I didn't exist. And then eventually it flew off, and everything was well. So I immediately checked the statistics to see if it had registered an obstruction, and it hadn't. So that now proves that birds don't cause obstructions. But of course, that depends how big your bird is. I would suggest if you threw an ostrich on top of it, it's probably going to cause an obstruction. But little birds like pigeons or doves, sparrows, such like, not going to make a difference. So I've been feeling really challenged about Des and his purpose because he doesn't really have one. It's all very well having a friend, and I know everybody needs a friend. But this next clip may well open up a new future for him. Welcome to Delta One Science Lab. This is where a lot of the interesting stuff happens. You may be able to hear a machine running in the background. That machine, we put our dirty clothes into, and it washes them, and then they come out smelling better than they were before they went in. But on a serious note, myself and Des are in here, and in this science lab today we're prepping Des for the next stages of his journey, if you like. Now, this does not come without its risks, because as highly trained as I am, I'm putting him in danger, real danger. Today we're going to make a small harness type device to place him into and attach him to a drone and send him up into the sky. Now this is all part of his altitude training, and the whole purpose of this is we want Starlink and SpaceX to send Des to the moon. So it's going to be quite tricky because the drone, I'm thinking about when it's taken off initially, that there's going to be a bit of movement. The drone does fly at 40 miles per hour, and we're not ready to go to that stage yet. We have to probably do quite a few test runs first. Today we just want to get him up and see how he feels about heights, because that's going to matter. Ultimately, when you go to the moon, it's pretty high. So we got this little basket thing here, got some string. I've got this little device. It's a specially made heat device that pierces the side. I'm going to do it in 4 areas, front, back, and left and right hand side, which will hopefully then enable me to attach said sides to the different corners of the drone. It should reduce the swing, various other things like that. And then finally, the most important thing is it's actually this here, which is it's a form of weatherproofed bedding, and then we just pad that out in there, and that should keep him secure and prevent him falling out. Now, I'm aware this is the second that I lift this thing off the ground, his warranty is going to be invalidated, but I'm okay with that because we all have a purpose, and Des's purpose is not connected to my Starlink dish. So let's get on with this. So we were a few minutes from launch, and as you will know, those of you who follow SpaceX, weather matters, and it started raining. So our equipment isn't designed to withstand such extreme weather conditions. And I think in terms of the crew, safety's paramount, and with rain, it's potentially going to affect his capacity to fly in the future. There's some things I want to share today from the customer service feedback and various other bits and pieces, obstructions and such like. So we're going to delay the launch today, but we are going to do it. Des will be altitude trained. And remember, hashtag send Des to the moon. So there you have it. The weather was too bad to get Des off the ground. My goal is to have him airborne by the weekend, and this is why. I don't know if he's happy with me or what. But you can help. I think we should start a petition, genuinely, to try and get Des to the moon. This is training for him. And if this gathers momentum, I have such a good idea over the next few weeks. But in the meantime, once the weather clears, I will lift him off. That sounded weird. So that brings us on to the final bit of today's episode, which is the Starlink UK customer services feedback. Now, the survey I sent out last week was part of the community that generated this survey feedback to Starlink, how they feel the process is going. And that ranges from first time you order, or you're entering your credit card details, to getting your device and how things are going. So it's about the whole process, the whole package, if you like. And the commitment of this community is phenomenal, and they want to see it improve. I'm not directly involved with those conversations, but I'm thankful that I get fed back the information, because it means I can share it with you. Now, if you're on the Discord channel or the Facebook channel, you will have already seen some of this stuff. But these are the 3 points out of 11 that I think are relevant to probably a wider audience, if you like. So let's start off with point 3. There have been some key differences in the UK in comparison to the US and Canada, and there's been a lot of cancellations when the email goes out to convert from pre-order into full order. So that's a real interesting point. So people are pretty much pulling out. I keep saying this weird stuff. So people are pretty much deciding not to follow through on their orders, and that is probably because of the money. Once the realization comes in, then you kind of decide you're not going to do it. I'm going to share where I was at whenever I placed my pre-order, and this is one of the questions they're asking. So if you've in a similar position or you've got an experience that you want to share, please do in the comments. So my experience was this. I had an invitation to place an order with Starlink, and I did, and it said it would be delivered in the middle of the summer. By then I thought I could afford it, which would be, you know, it's expensive. It's £500 and then £90 a month. So I placed the order, put it on my credit card. My order was turned around within a week, and it was here. And I remember when I got that email about the money being taken out of my account, I had that weird sense in my stomach where I thought, oh crap. Now, it'd be interesting to know if people have had that experience. I decided to continue with it because I compared what I had to potentially what I was going to get, and that was the defining factor for me. I just went ahead with it. So interesting to know what you think. Why are people deciding not to go ahead with the order in the UK compared to the rest of the world? The rest of the world just go, stuff it. We're having it. We're going with it. Interested to know. That brings us on to point 10. The term first come, first serve seems pretty obvious, but it would appear that it means something different when it comes to Starlink. First come, first serve means buy, sell. Now, that's not very clear on their website, and this has been fed back to them, and they've acknowledged that. So that will be changed. So if you're in this place where you're saying, I ordered mine ages ago and person across the road's got it, and I don't, well, it could well be because you're in a different cell. It's not this massive queue where you pre-order and you just get added a number, a chronological number. It's about your cell. So I hope that helps if you're in that position. And then finally, the third point that I think is worth raising is upload speeds. Now you'll notice on my uploads and the speed tests that I run that they do fluctuate a lot. So there's a substantial difference in speed test to speed test, even the ones I've shared today. And the network engineers have acknowledged that this needs to improve. Again, this has been fed back, so it's a positive thing. And I'm quite excited about what that might hold for the future. Probably a better system. So if you want to get involved, please do join one of the groups, and you may see us in there, and it's very lighthearted, it's very funny, but also we like to get things done. So there you have it. There are the 3 points that I thought were relevant out of the 11. Of course, I think they're all relevant in their own right, but these are the ones that I feel might appeal to the people that watch my videos. So basically my kids and my wife, so... Anyway, if you want to be part of the community and start feeding stuff back, you've got questions and I don't manage to get around to answer your comments straight away, Discord's a really good place, Facebook page is a really good place. As I said, all the links will be in the description below. And I hope that helped today. So whatever you're doing for the rest of the day, have a good one, and I will catch you later.